Hello everyone, it's us again, and we keep turning up like the proverbial bad penny, and this week we're going to show you a little bit about a very fine song that actually didn't do as well in the US charts as you might expect. It's called It Might As Well Rain Until September, and it was written in 1962 by the husband and wife, as they were then, songwriting partnership of Gerry Goffin and Carole King. And they wrote this song for Bobby Vee. They'd already written a song for Bobby Vee called Take Good Care of My Baby, which had been a big hit for Bobby Vee. And they wrote this one, and Carole King just did a demonstration, a demo version of the song on acetate. And then her record company decided to release it. But because she had two small children at the time, she wasn't prepared to go on tour to plug the record, so it didn't actually do particularly well in the US. It only got to number 22 on the Billboard chart. Got to number 3 in the UK though, and was covered in the UK by the lovely Helen Shapiro, as it goes. Well, the song is one of thousands that emanated from the Brill Building in Manhattan in New York. It's on Broadway and 49th, if you're ever in that neck of the woods. And it was home to dozens and dozens of composers, arrangers, publishers and assorted musicians. The best known, of course, are Carole King and Gerry Goffin, as well as Neil Sedaka and Howard Greenfield, his lyricist, Doc Pomus and Mort Schumann, Jerry Lieber and Mike Stoller, and countless others, Paul Anka. Well, the list goes on. Burt Bacharach and Hal David, they all worked in the Brill Building. It was a kind of hit song factory. And this is one of the songs that came out for it. Now, as I say, it only got to number 22 on the US charts, but it's a good song. And it's got one or two little unusual things in it that might pique your interest. It certainly piques mine. Would you like a peek?
Oh, I like a peek. Always.
Okay. Right. It's in the key of F major, and it starts on a chord of D minor, which is the relative minor of F major, by which I mean, just sliding a little bit of musical theory here, it has the same key signature. D minor and F major share a key signature, which means there is one flat in its standard scale, B flat as it happens. So anyway, we start with a single strum on the D minor chord, and then the lyric kicks in, what shall I write? And then we're doing a little rundown here. We're doing a D, D flat, C. So we're doing a D minor, an F augmented, which is 2110, and the way I do that is just to flatten my index finger across the C and E strings. So we're going a D minor, F augmented, and then down to an F major. So that's the first line of the song, and then we get to How Can I Tell You, which is on a G7th, G minor 7th, and then the last chord in that little two-line introduction, I've shown it as a C7th with a flattened 9th. Now don't be frightened by that, because all that means on the fretboard of a ukulele is 0 1 0 1. But I hear you cry, surely that's a G diminished. Well, yes it is. But because you've only got 4 different sounds that you can make on the ukulele, this is the nearest approximation you can get to a C7 flat 5. But what you would expect is that the bass man is going to play a C note. If you showed it as a G diminished, you'd expect the bass man to play a G note. But by showing it as a C7 flat 9, then that indicates to the bass man that he should be playing a C note. So we get that 0 1 0 1. And just generally on that subject, if the song sheet calls for a diminished, now we've had this before, you know that a diminished chord can be called by any of its constituent 4 notes. And the way musicians choose which note they want to call the diminished chord by is to indicate to the bass player which note that they would like the bass to play. So that is a good example. That is normally shown as G diminished, because you'd expect the bass man to be playing that G. But you can also call it C sharp diminished or D flat diminished, if that's what you want the bass to do. Or you can call it E diminished, or you can call it A sharp or B flat diminished. And it's exactly the same 4 notes, but it just depends which one of those you want to highlight in the bass. So that's the general rule of thumb. Right, let's get into the verse of the song, and it begins by just toggling backwards and forwards from F to G minor 7th. So, the weather here, 4 beats on each. And then we get to the end of the second line and it changes to an F7th. F7th is 2-3-1-0 or 2-3-1-3. I quite like it with that C note over the top rather than because you've got the E flat in there, and I just sometimes the C note over the top sounds a bit nicer. From there we're going to a B flat. That B flat again. You should have got to grips with it by now, because we're going from a B flat to a B flat minor, and which is 3-1-1-1. And then we're going to an F while you're so far away. Now, a D diminished is Scotland Yard. It's 1-2-1-2. But from a D diminished, we're going to a G7th. Now, if you look at your fretboard while you're doing that, you'll realise that all you have to do is to lift your index finger, because D diminished and G7th are only 1 note different on a ukulele fretboard. So the D diminished is 1-2-1-2, and the G7th is 0-2-1-2. So there's only a semitone difference on 1 note between them. But it just keeps the accompaniment moving. And then the 4th line of the verse, we come to this D flat 7th. Eek, I hear you cry. But don't be worried about it. If you can do a 4-string bar on the 1st fret, which you should be able to do for a B flat or a B flat minor now, then all you need to do is play 1-1-1-2, which is a 4-string bar on the 1st fret, and then your middle finger on the 2nd fret of the A string, and there is a D flat 7th. And that's the interesting chord. It's the chord that gives the song its hook and its real interest. So in the key of F, D flat 7th is an unusual chord and a surprising chord, but it works here, and it gives you that little bit of surprise and lifts the whole thing. So what we get there for the last 2 lines of the verse is 1, 2, 3, 4. For all the fun I'll have while you're so far away, it might as well rain until September. So we go from a D flat 7th, just drop it half a tone to a C 7th, and then F and G minor 7th again. At the end of the verse, we're on a G minor 7th chord. There's that little thing going on in the accompaniment there, and if you want to pick out those notes, it's D, F, A, and then that D, which is actually virtually a D minor chord. But you can do that on a G7. So you get, it might as well rain until September, bum 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 bum, and like that. So it just makes a nice little turnaround at the end of the verse. And then the second verse, again, the accompaniment is very much the same pattern, the same chord progression as the first verse, until you get to the end where you just stay on the F, because we're going into the bridge, and the bridge is going from the key of F. Firstly, it's going into the key of G flat, and it gets there by transiting from F through that D flat 7th chord again to a G flat. So we get, it might as well rain until September. We get a D flat. My friends look forward to that, and then we're resolving the flat, the 7th to the G flat. My friends look forward to their picnics on the beach. Best way to do G flat here is to keep that bar on the 1st fret and then play an F shape using your middle finger and ring finger, so like so. So that's 3 1 2 1. That's an F. And then again, what I'd do if I were accompanying this song, I would just play that little E flat minor. Just drop that little finger down on the 3rd fret once. So we get, my friends look forward to their picnic on the beach. So I'm doing that. Strings need changing. Can't you hear? They're getting dull. That's not getting the ring out on that C string the way we should. It's not extending. So string change. Right. Sorry, I digress as always.
You do it beautifully.
Thank you.
That's all right.
You say the nicest things. Right. So with that bridge passage is a chord of 4 beats on D flat 7, 4 beats on G flat, dropping that E flat note in if you like, and then we go up another semitone. We're going up from D flat 7th and G flat. We're going up to D 7th. But you know, darling, while your arms, and to G. So we've got that semitone upwards into the second half of the bridge. We're now in the key of G. And then it goes, the summer isn't any friend. And from a G, we go back down to the G minor at the 7th, G minor 7th, which allows us to get back into the key of F major via the passing chord of C 7th. So there you get, the summer isn't any friend of mine. And then we're back into F for the last verse. One thing I forgot, I did, to get from the opening 2 lines into the verse, we just got a little run up on this, on the C to F. And I'll show you what I mean. So if we can rewind right to the very beginning. Yep. So we get, what shall I write? What can I say? How can I tell you how much I miss you? And then we get this. The weather. So it's a C note repeated, a D note repeated, and an E note repeated. And then we can do an F. The weather here. Sorry, I forgot about that first in sequence, sorry to rewind there. But it's the best time to do it because we're going into the end game now. We've got the final verse. It doesn't matter whether the skies are blue or grey or blue. And then we get to the end of the song, which is the last line, as per usual, the last line of the verse, and then we just get the word September repeated as a little coda with a slightly different chord progression. So the last line of the last verse goes from the D flat, as usual. It might as well rain until September, G minor 7th, and then a G 7th, September, a C 7th, September. Oh, it might as well, G minor 7th, rain until, back to that G minor 7th, September. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, C7, and then we can do a little raindrop thing at the end by putting your little finger down on the 3rd fret of the A string to give you a C note on the F chord, and we're just doing that. So we're doing the C, and we're rocking between the C note and the A note to give the little raindrop effect at the end. So it gets that. Half the speed of it. And then if you want, you can finish on the F at the 2nd position, which is 5, 5, 5, 8. And there you go. I think that's about it.
It is, yeah.
Okay, right. Well, so that's a fairly short tutorial for this week. We'll do a play along for it on Friday. Also coming
Sunday.
Sorry, Sunday. One day blends into another very much. I really don't know whether it's Pancake Tuesday or haircut and breakfast time. But anyway. We will have our play-along version of this song, hopefully with Graham accompanying us on the bass, sometime over the weekend, let's just say. We'll also have another comic song for you on Friday, and so on for another couple of months. Today is the day when we're just beginning in the UK to come out of lockdown. The kids have gone back to school. Parents across the land rejoice. Well, they can get on with that. But we're going to go and have a lie down in a darkened room as usual, and leave you to it. So that's it from us, isn't it?
Yep.
Today, Pam. Okay. Well, it's goodbye from Pam.
Bye.
Bye from me, and we'll see you soon. Take care of yourselves. Be kind to each other, and above all, stay safe. We're so near the end of this. Let's not blow it now. See you soon. Bye for now.